Good morning. Today is December 14th, 2021, and this is the fourth in our series of anecdotes. This is a continuation of original sin, which is so important for us because it's a learned thing. It's what gives us a sense of free will, and it's what gives us a Juno move to use in order to stand up to a bum's rush. In the 1950s in the United States, they were trying to build the ideal world, straight out of Socrates and Aristotle and Aquinas. If you're going to be a good citizen, you would first line yourself up emotionally and physically. Then you would become a good husband to a wife, and then a good father to your children. To that end, you became a good provider, and you learned a trade such as being a plumber. From the gal's point of view, she first became a good person, then she became a good wife to her husband and a good mother to her children. And to that end, she would learn things such as how to raise children and how to cook and how to keep a house. This all came under the heading of home economics, and it was the home economics that pulled so many people out of poverty and created such a large middle class. I get to be a bit earthy here. There was an assumption that if you were impregnating the gal, you were getting the gal pregnant. If you were going to be a stud, then you were going to be a father. The reverse, however, was also true. If you were going to be a father, then you're the one that got to be the stud. The same is true of the gals. There was an assumption that if she was getting pregnant, if she was being impregnated, then she was going to be the mother. And the reverse was also true. If she was going to be a mother, then the pleasures of sex were her department. The gal who changes the dirty diapers gets the sex. The gal who changes the dirty diapers gets the sex. The people who do the producing do the consuming. There was also a social conscience at that time. People made money by making other people better off. Our soldiers defended the poor and the oppressed as opposed to the communist soldiers who would go goose-stepping down the street. Our attorneys defended the weak as opposed to the communist attorneys who didn't. There's another part of that social conscience, and that's the religious part of it. The part that said Christ rose on the third day. I think of that computer cloud of emotion when I listen to the nuns give their vocational stories on the internet, or perhaps the Pope giving midnight mass. The philosophers have a famous name for this. They call this an infusion. They say first that religious argument, that computer cloud comes into being, and then the other part of that social conscience appears. One comes out of the other and everything lines up. This is called God and country, and that's what made the United States such a magical place to live. That's why so many people risked their lives to get into it. That's enough. That's enough for this anecdote. We'll continue this on the next anecdote. Thank you. See you then.